Alrighty, so, well, thanks everyone. Well, my name is YJ. I'm a, I'm a glacier geophysics, um, basically who are using the remote sensing data sets to monitor the glacier changes over the world with the focus on the Arctic region for sure. But today you're probably not going to hear me talking about lots of things about the glaciers. But instead, I'm really excited to introduce you with something we call the TaiPI Data Repository or Taiwan Polar Institute Data Repository. This is a new service, so I guess we have to really start over by introducing what a Taiwan Polar Institute is. So Taiwan Polar Institute or TaiPI in short, well, this acronym is actually the same as a really famous beer brand in Taiwan, TaiPI. Anyway, so this institute was founded in 2023 within a university called the National Central University, where I am affiliated to. But the initiative actually started earlier than that. So it all began with a collaboration between Polish people and Taiwanese people. So we have been collaborating a Polish university called the Nicholas Copernicus University, well, in short, NCU. Well, so you can see both institutes are called NCU in short. So we call this NCU collaboration anyway. So we have had this connection since many years ago, and then both of our communities have been interested in working in Svalbard, and then they graciously invited us to use their polar stations in Svalbard, and then we're like happy to take this opportunity. And then after several years, we realized that, well, there has been a growing interest in scientists based in Taiwan for the polar studies, and we think it is a good thing because many issues happening in the Arctic and in Antarctica needs a global effort to address. So after several years, after a few campaigns in Svalbard, we decided to really settle this initiative and fund Taiwan Polar Institute within our university. We call this Taiwan Polar Institute because we have an ambition to make it become a national institute, but I guess it's going to be the long-term project. So anyway, our missions of the TaiPI's missions is basically we wanted to operate an office, a logistic office in Svalbard, which is we call the Thai Arctic. Now it is located in the Longyearbyen. We basically rented an office space for managing all of the logistics needs and also for personnel and for large cargoes. And then, of course, we also assist some researchers to do to help them conduct the field work or other scientific projects related to the polar regions. And then, as the only polar institute in Taiwan, we also communicate with the local stakeholders and policymakers, and to make sure the future policies will involve some of the the global commonwealths by thinking of the polar regions. And then we are also responsible for the domestic education and outreach efforts. And in fact, there has been many activities hosted by us for high school teachers and then also elementary school students. We are pretty new. It's like a baby compared to many other facilities and institutes we've heard these days. But unfortunately, we have started fundings. That is basically 3 years from 2024 to 2027. So our fundings come from the public sectors, including our NSTC, National Science and Technological Council, and also the National Academy of Marine Research. We also receive some of the university level funds, as well as the funds from the private sectors. Well, so that gives us a little flexibility of doing something that we want to do in the first 3 years. Well, despite that, we are actually a small community. We only have like, I would say, 15 faculty and staff members. Well, if you include the graduate students, we can be a group of roughly 40 or 50 people, but that's all of them. Um, so you can see this is our fields of research for now. I guess it's basically focusing on the natural sciences part of the polar research. Even though that we are a small community, we have been doing lots of activities, primarily in the Arctic region. Well, in Svalbard, to be precise. As you can see, we have conducted some geophysical surveys. We also have conducted some drone surveys for geomorphological studies and for glaciological studies, and then so there has been an emergent needs. So where do our data go? So with this thoughts, we thought of many potential solutions. For example, we can actually submit all of the data to an existing data center or data repository, such as the Arctic Data Center. But in the end, we determined to establish our own data repository because of many reasons. I will state these reasons in the end. But basically, part of the reason is because we have some flexibilities, and then part of the reason is that we have time and we have some people for doing this. So the idea came in last year, in 2024, and then we started to actually build a prototype after we received the startup fund in 2024. You can see this is our development team. So there are 2 people, well, including me and our data engineer and data analyst, Ilan Panutun. So we 2 are basically taking care of the data repository. And then we also have some steering members within our institute, which are Chunfa Ni, Zhou Wu, and then Peizhen Zhang. So the entire thing, as I said, is a baby, and then we are basically raising it. The service now is in a beta release. So in the end, I will put a QR code so that you can check what's going on there. But the entire service will now tentatively scheduled to be launched in early 2026, which is next year. All right, so I would say we're pretty fortunate to start up this initiative in an era of open science. So when we are designing these service, we thought about lots of things about the open science and then fair policy. So you can see that we have a goal that we design this repository using the open science principles, well, specifically FAIR principles, as well as other best practices regarding the data repository that we know. So you can see we hope that we are doing the right thing from the beginning, so that they can see that there are many aspects that has been associated with our repository, such as DOI service, such as metadata assessments, and also we have a license. We allow the data submitters to choose different licenses. For now, everyone chooses open license, but we don't know what's going on, what this will be seen in the future. But anyway, so that you can see, we provide various services, and then there's an infrastructure that is based upon open science and FAIR. Today, I don't have lots of time, so I wanted to show you some components of the data repository that is actually beyond this FAIR data principle. But we think it is a really good add-on on those open science practices. So the first one is the interactive maps for the data exploration. So this is an example, the screenshot from the beta version of our repository. So you can see it's showing the glacier elevation change on Iceland, but actually this data set covers the entire Arctic. And then you can actually explore the data set, hovering and then dragging things, areas over the maps. And then you can also directly download any data set as a tile anywhere of the Arctic regarding the glacier elevation change. And then you can also use the toolbar in the left to actually query and subset the entire data set for you to download. And then if you would like to process the data in the cloud instead of downloading them, we also have the option for you to do that. And then together with the data repository, we also have the service called the TaiPIHub. And then the TaiPIHub basically provides a cloud-based execution environment so that you just only need to use your GitHub account to log in. And then you select the data set you want to process, and then the TaiPIHub will create an executable cloud environment for you with the data already loaded within that environment, so that you can, for example, you can upload your script and then process the data in situ. You don't need to download them because we realize, well, for some large data set with the size of the terabytes, downloading is always not the best things you do. And then, so, the data set was initially designed for the Taiwan Polar Institute community, but we feel that, well, it's, we wanted to invite all of the community members, not only within our small community, but the entire polar research community to try and use this service, not only as a user, but also as a contributor. So this is the things we have been building in the last several months. So we are designing a data submission portal so that you can submit the data set, your data set, to this data repository. And then we are building a metadata assessment report based on the ideas we learned from the NSF Arctic Data Center. And then we also have a dedicated team to review your submission, and then we plan to work with the submitters for improving their metadata and the data quality. So this is our plan. And then in terms of the accessing data, as I said, well, you can download them from the interactive map, or you can also download it from as a whole. As I said, you can access that on the TaiPIHub, and as well, we also provide an API flavor downloading for you to use any scripts or things like that to access the data. Finally, I wanted to address the question why we would like to design a data repository from the very beginning. And then one of the, well, there are actually many reasons, but here I only wanted to mention one. So in the past, we tend to submit the data to an existing data repository, but that's most of the data repositories are so far from Taiwan. And then, if you repeatedly doing this many times, and then you upload and download the data from the really remote places, and then it costs lots of the time for you. So, and then, well, if you're using cloud services like AWS, it also involves the egress fee, which is a huge amount of the money. So this is one of the motivations. We wanted to build an Asian-based data center, and then which can reduce your time and then make less money on the upload and download tasks. So yeah, this is the image I found from online, which is pretty clearly show this idea. So finally, this is our landing page, and then I put the QR code here so you can take a look. And then I really want to hear back from you regarding any feedbacks or things, ideas that you feel that we can improve. Thank you so much.
You, YJ, that was great. Do we have any questions in the room? Two. I'm going to go to Shannon first because you already had one.
Mine's actually just a comment. I'm just really impressed by how much you guys have gotten done in a short time period. Like getting an institute started and starting up a database is not easy. So kudos. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess you can have a question too. That's fine.
We're based upon lots of the great previous work, so that's why.
Well, mine was just a comment as well, just saying that yeah, it may just be a baby, but now is the time to raise it right and you know, get things in there. Oftentimes when I think, oh, it would be great if we could go back and rebuild this, you're in that position. So learn from everybody and use it to build it. Good for you.
Totally.
There you go. You're everybody's teenager. Any other questions? No? All right, we might leave it there. Thanks, you, YJ.